Motivate.Trust, they have the Tusk, they have the Grimstroke, so very potent dual lanes coming out here. I would prefer the Grimstroke Dark Knight, Dragon Knight lane. Having the Inkswell plus Dragon Tail stun is pretty darn good. The follow-ups there, really good control. No combinations with the Grimstroke here, no room for a Doom unless we see it pause one for Jackie, but we've not seen that from Jackie himself, so I don't think that's coming true.
No.
But Execration, they pick up the Lina, so it looks like Lina mid is the answer here for the puck. Bob, Lina, we've seen this a couple of times. It is pretty darn good. Not one of his most flashiest heroes. It's not naturally mobile, so you can't play as much on the edge, but it should be able to manage the puck in lane and still get its own farm up.
I wonder what Jackie is going to pick up here for that pause one. I always get afraid when Motivate.Trust are playing and they leave that last pick for Jackie, because, you know, that Arc Warden, that always scares me, you know? And I always get this weird feeling sometimes, like there's an Arc Warden coming. You know, when you hate the hero enough, you can feel it coming. You know, it's just... It shouldn't be, though. I mean, it's not like they're locked out of picks. Like, you've got the TB there, which is just a better option in my opinion. I'd say TB's probably... They banned the Slark now.
Yeah.
Execration could take the DB for themselves. Like, Palos just played it himself. It did a great job on it.
Yeah, it's still a solid core to have. It gives Execration a ton of push early if Palos does want to rotate. And we have seen him do that in the last game, where he's willing to rotate mid to push that mid tier 1. With Alina, he can get that done pretty quick once the Fiery Soul stacks build up. So Execration can kind of play that pace. It gives them good scaling towards the late, alleviates some of the pressure to play fast because they've got the Viper, and just gives them more to kind of do with. So could be a nice pickup. You don't have the best burst on Motivate.Trust. Kind of handle it. Like, you have physical burst with your Tusk. Puck early on before BKB can kind of manage him, or at least before Manta. After that point, I think the Terrorblade still has a great time. So that could be worrisome for Motivate.Trust if it does get picked up by Execration.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could be. They're going to think about it. They still have quite a bit of reserve time left to make this final decision. I think the one negative about going TB is you don't have the greatest, like, frontlining hero right now. You've got Viper Lina. That's not going to make it easy for a Terrorblade to just kind of stand his ground. You might want someone who could just close the gap and just fight. Like, I'm kind of feeling like an Ursa here for Execration, or something like that would be a little bit more effective. And into the DK, Ursa does do all right. It doesn't do too badly. You know, Fury swipes kind of don't care about the armor value of the Dragon Knight. That's kind of where I'm thinking Execration may go.
They could flex the Viper safe, pick something else for Raging to give them team fight. They would have to play really fast. Sand King's an option. I'm just always putting it out there. Just take Sand King.
But Viper carry is so bad, though, isn't it? Like, it just does nothing after 15-20 minutes. No, they got Brewmaster.
Okay.
Well, you got your wish, John. You got pause 1 Viper. Well done. You happy, John?
No. Really not happy. Brewmaster, Raging Potato hero, more than likely. I honestly would have preferred Sand King, because as you mentioned, they kind of lack that wider team fight. Brew helps them isolate single heroes with a spin, at least. They have to play super fast.
Yeah.
Bob is their win condition on Lina. She can itemize for right click with the Daedalus down the line. It takes a while. You don't want to kind of drag it that long. Motivate.Trust can just take a bigger win condition now. Like, sure, you have to contend with Viper and his damage early on, his break for the DK. Maybe have to worry about the Brewmaster just getting the Cyclones off. That is annoying, but I think all of those big Jackie heroes, the Terrorblade could still come out. I mean, you worry about the Lina damage, you worry about being stalked by the Nyx. I think Motivate.Trust can kind of protect it fine. They go with Ricky instead. All right.
I mean, why not, right? Like, it does not seem like too bad of a Ricky game. We just saw it. The smokescreen going to be very effective. They've got triple silence, in fact, if you count the Grimstroke and the Puck. And yeah, I mean, the pause 1 Viper, I never have faith in pause 1 Viper. Like, literally never. There's not one game you could point out to me with 2 drafts where I could tell you pause 1 Viper looked amazing. I know it does well in the laning phase. I understand that it's going to do well into the DK. I get that, John. But after 15-20 minutes, what does the hero do? What does it do?
It spits at people. It literally spits at people. the entire game. So it's just going to keep spitting. At some point, the spit's not annoying.
I mean, I
And that's the
guess
big word for Execration.
I guess Bob could kind of be like the carry on the laner.
Yeah, yeah.
But we really haven't been seeing that from mid laners, have we? We've seen plenty of like Daedalus build up, but it doesn't transition well. And when you're playing into Ricky, he's not going to be easy to lock down. You're already kind of lacking lockdown as it is, let alone a Ricky of all things that has a billion ways of dodging it. I think it's going to be a very hard game for Execration.
Will be. They lane swap here as well. Motivate.Trust are running the Masaros puck off lane. So it's a fearless DK mid. And that's just not going to be harassed out by the Lina at all. It doesn't care for the damage. Once you get level 3, level 2 Dragon Blood up, you really don't care. You just farm, you keep farming, and that's it. Maybe you get some rotations from Execration. With an AA, with Nyx, they do play well with the Lina. So you can kind of catch Fearless out, keep him down. And that does give a lot of space towards Jackie. And I think that's all Motivate.Trust really wants. Just build up on Ricky, hit the defusal timing, go from there. And as you mentioned, Execration's hold, Execration's scaling against Ricky, it just doesn't feel amazing. Lina can try to itemize for that, but it hasn't really been the best showing, at least in Southeast Asia. I think other regions have been leaning towards that route. In CR itself, it just feels weird because you go for early game items, you never go for the right-click build first.
Yeah.
And it just leads to this hybrid build-up that at the point when you're starting to build into the right-click, it just feels underwhelming.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll go into a game one. We shouldn't, we shouldn't just say they can't win or anything. It just feels like a very, very hard draft to run based off what we've seen over and over again with these POS 1 Vipers. It just never seems to work out. I suppose if you get an amazing start, you can make it work. I guess it's the only way to put it. But, we'll see if Execration can make this game work. Motivate.Trust, they do look to be the favorites, but only slightly. 174 to 198. So the betting scene seems to believe that Motivate very, very slight favorites, but it should be an even game overall. I mean, I would tend to agree. I think Execration, they will probably dominate the first 15-20 minutes. I'm saying after that point, I just don't know what this draft's going to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure to play fast on Execration. In stark contrast to their last draft with the Terrorblade, they actually do have to be the ones applying that pressure, finding the kills. They do manage to dodge out the gank, and with a ward, you kind of figure out the Jackie wraparound from the behind. So they know about probably the ward here as well. They could get the D ward. They do ping it out. So if they have a sentry on hand, some nice added gold. They've got the sentry on RR, but probably want that for the block. No one biting the bait. So no first blood here.
Isn't that terrible? Your support has a sentry, but now the cores are going to take that bonus gold. The supports never win, do they, John? No matter what IceFrog does, they just can't win. Palos?
Palos?
I'm not sure about that, Palos. You just pinged out the ward, sir. Stroke of Fate is out. Tag team, he's gone. Bottom lane, though, or rather mid lane, Jackie was being chased down. He'll have to go for a reset at the fountain, but he is going to be able to make it in time for the first wave. I don't see him missing a creep.
No. It should be perfectly fine. Nice first blood start for Motivate.Trust. Should lead him to have a little bit more on that off-lane puck. We'll watch this bot lane first. RR is there in the AA. Jackie TP's back in on the Ricky. They've got Raging on that Brewmaster. And this lane can be pretty aggressive on Execration side. Once they've got the Cold Feet and Ice Vortex, you can kind of just look to ignite Jackie. Try to hold him down. The issue is you can't hold him with Blink Strike off. You don't have that control on the side of Execration. Even with a Cold Feet, he can just break that distance. So Jackie should just be free to farm, and Set Zero, Boombell should get a good job in just zoning out here. Early levels for Brew just don't feel amazing against these ranged heroes.
Well, you've got amazing kill potential as well, though. Like, with the Inkswell Blink Strike, it's going to be quite hard to actually lane for Raging. He's got AA support. RR already trying to pull the wave over, but he only got 2 creeps. It's going to be a bit of a tough one, I think. Especially for RR on that AA, because if you get Blink Striked on with an Inkswell, you're probably just going to die. Very, very soft kind of support to have. We'll have a look at the other lanes while we still have a chance. Of course, mid lane, Fearless is there against Bob. Should be a pretty fairly kind of even trading lane. You know how this one goes. As the levels go up on the DK, he's not going to die. He should be just fine.
Nah, he's just going to keep farming. The Lina will as well. You can disrupt that with a Breed Fire. Where it kind of falls flat is DK side camps don't tend to fall as quickly for him, especially if you go all in on Dragon Blood. So the Lena's still going to have the farm advantage, dipping into the small camp. That's pretty much it. Like, you just go for runes, maybe support rotation out. That's going to dictate this, but for the most part, once you hit 6, it's either Fearless goes for a tower push or Bob goes for an LSA Laguna Blade play. And that's where it gets exciting, but until that build up, very steady lane for both sides.
Yeah. Of course, top lane, the last lane we haven't really talked about. BDZ's there against Q, and you've also got Palos on that POS 1 Viper against Masaros. Now, John, I must admit, we never get to see the POS 3 Masaros puck, so I'm not really sure what to expect, and I guess I've spoken too soon as well, because it looks like he is going to die. Have we seen Masaros puck before, John? I really can't remember if we have.
I want to say a year ago.
Okay.
Like around Pro Series 3 or 4, when offlane puck was much more popular. Probably then, not in a long time. So it's a bit of a treat. Unfortunately, he dies there after getting first blood earlier. So Palos gets to kind of recover, just down to the fact that Q was trying to get some EXP going. This lane can be aggressive for Motivate.Trust. They've got tag team, they can get the roll, they can get the shards up to isolate heroes. Palos has to be fairly safe. He can just clear out the wave with the Nether Toxin bot.
That tag team hurts Palos.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe he had nowhere to go, but I feel like he could have just walked around the tower, right? The shards weren't completely blocking him in. Maybe just overestimating how tanky he was on the Viper. Perhaps. Bottom lane. Jackie's being jumped, but again, Tricks to the trade is just going to... Oh, he does get frozen. Won't really matter, though. He'll be just fine.
Yeah, and he's just going to be able to regen right up. You're seeing the back and forth there. The Inkswell combination can kick in with Set0 hitting his level 3 mark up top. You have to be careful about really diving too far, although Q, those stacks have built up.
They have indeed. Palos, though, not going to go all the way in. Q should be able to survive through it. Does get away on 80 HP. I think that's one of the big detriments about the POS 1 Viper as well, is if you can't completely destroy this lane, the hero doesn't feel as... It doesn't give you as much value as bot lane. Jackie, he's going to get some value here, it looks like, and he will. RR does go down, raging. Tried to go after Set0, but couldn't quite get the kill. Now this lane, again, becomes difficult for the side of Execration, as Jackie, he's just free farming on the Ricky. There's nothing stopping him.
Yeah, it's not an easy time for Raging to really zone him out. He does have the urn up. He does need a kill to get a charge in that urn, and it's just not lining up yet for the side of Execration. Like, they're just not able to really do much for the combination in this lane. They do rotate RR down mid for a bit to get some D-wards going. And you have to be worried about how fast Jackie's going to farm. Once the power treads is up, once the casual orb corrosion's up, Ricky will hit like a truck and he can join his teammates in taking some early fights if you want.
Yeah, certainly so. We've seen Jackie on this hero before. He does tend to do that. Raging. Oh, Inkswell's there. They got the silence off. The stun is going to connect, and they've got another blink strike, so that should be Raging dead, and they'll get him. RR, he tried to go for the cold feet, but as an AA in the offlane, there's not much you can do. There's really just nothing you can do here for Raging Potato.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised they just didn't put BDZ there. Like, the dual lane just doesn't feel amazing. At least with a Nyx, you're like double melee still, but you're very tanky on Nyx. You can kind of go in, try to harass out the Grimstroke, be a bigger nuisance. You've got the Spiked Carapace to play with as well to kind of counteract his spells. So you can break off the initiation. For now, it's just a bit of an EXP drain, and R is just soaking as much as he can off of Raging, so he gets his level 6 timing. Once Ice Blast is up, you do have impact. It's just, you have to wait a long time for that in the support.
Yeah. Bit unlucky there for Bob on the Lena. He does end up missing out on that regen rune at the top rune spot. Q will just go ahead and take it. Just deny it away from Bob. Of course, Fearless doesn't need the regen at all. Like, he's just perfectly fine. He's got a soul ring up, and he's never going to be short on mana, rather HP, that's for sure. So, he'll just keep casually farming the mid lane. Of course, Bob has overtaken in terms of CS, but you kind of mentioned it earlier. It is to be expected when you can farm the side camps as the Lena, where Fearless can't really do that on the DK. He's just kind of... He's stuck with the lane creeps, is all he's got. So, you do expect the CS numbers to be much higher for Bob. That being said, Bob is out of mana, and it looks like he is just going to make the rotation back to the fountain. We might see him rotate to a lane now with that level 6 timing, trying to maybe get a kill for the team. It does feel like they are lacking some aggression here in the side lanes. But that is going to allow Fearless to start chipping in that tier 1 mid, so he does have to TP back.
Yeah, it's the one where you leave a lane against a DK, he can just get some good damage off onto mid tier 1. If you leave it for too long, it could fall. So you're forced to just play more defensively, and this takes away the spike of Bob. You do want to run and gun with Lina, you want to build up. We talked about the scaling of Execration hanging on the Lina getting a good start. You get that good start by getting pickoffs. So let's see where Bob does commit. I think the bot lane's going to be the easiest one. Jackie's very squishy. It's just that he has a 6 up, and you still have to get your stun combination going to kind of lock in the Ricky end. The Q's already waiting on the bot lane anyway. So Motivate.Trust is set to play around that spike on the Ricky, get some damage off, and get some aggression going as well.
Yeah. Bob, he's kind of rotated bot for a second. Bob, speaking of that bot lane, raging. A Q just makes the lane even harder for Raging Potato. More kills the way of Jackie. That'll be his 3rd of the game. Not dropping any lives so far on this Ricky. And yeah, we talked about this during the draft, John. It does feel like an extremely good Ricky game. There's really not much in the way of stopping him. Like, you just don't have the lockdown.
It's just not enough control to kind of keep him up there. Your supports don't really hold him. I guess BDZ can. But it's more pressure on Nyx to land that impale down the line. And it just feels like Execration's just playing so slow. Like, they've got the Viper. It's such a passive lane coming out. Palos is number 2 in net worth. So the farm is there. I just don't know what that means, because you're still behind a Ricky. Masaros is still not too far behind. Neither is Fearless, so the lead is still hanging towards Motivate.Trust. You need to get some moves out soon.
Swall there on Q. He might get punished here. Impel does land. A Light Strike Ray is there as well, and it looks like they might let him die, but he does get a snowball off, and Jackie is around. Bob gonna turn. Stun is out. Jackie still just waiting patiently. Is now raging. Does reveal the fact that he could see Jackie. Looks like they didn't really want to fight into the primal split that Raging Potato did have up. No need to try and rush when you don't have the smoke screen there on Jackie. You'd rather get the levels up to have the silence first, and naturally as well, you want the Diffusal Blade to hold down the Brewmaster. So he won't bother trying to save his Tusk.
No. And it's not the biggest here to give out. Important kill for Execration to find to start building up in Bob, and he does hold on to the Laguna as well. So there's still an opportunity for Execration to play around that big spell cast, play with a burst. You're still farming up in this Ricky. You're still building up on Jackie. Diffusal's gonna be pretty quick for Jackie this game. He's just not being stopped. The big upside for Execration is that they can clear out stacks with Palos, with Raging Potato. So they are getting some good flash farm in for Palos, already up with a Dragon Lance. And that should mean he can orb walk his damage a lot better. The side of Motivate.Trust are clumping around top. Looks like they might go for that tier 1 tower push soon, but they're playing it slow. They're just clearing out camps while they can. Dragon form popped, so they will probably commit for the top, but they have to watch for Raging Potato's split.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing right now that they really have to be careful of. Is bot lane, Jackie just solos RR, and now top lane, they are going to make the jump in. They got the silence, they've got the stuns out, and they will get raging. BDZ on the Nyx, he's probably sitting there being like, well, what can I do? This is a very sad Nyx Assassin game so far, let me tell you, John. Very, very sad. He just can't do anything. Yeah, Bob's in trouble now. Bob's trying to push the mid lane, knowing that there's so many heroes top, but Jackie just rotates with Masaros and they get another kill.
Yeah, the activity is just lining up more from Motivate. And Execration's the one playing slow. Their draft cannot afford to play slow like that. Like, they need to be grouped together much more often. They're lining up mid now. They could try to look for the kill on Masaros. He's still a very slippery puck. There's no Dream Coil, but they just don't have a good angle to initiate. Like, they rely more on the Nyx to play with the Vendetta in. And when that spell's down, they're just kind of stuck. The side of Motivate, they're planting some deep wards. They're keeping track of that top jungle now. They're going to be able to start to control it with the top tier 1 gone. A little bit easier to dip inside there. Somehow Jackie's just allowed to solo farm bot. Like, the Ricky's the softest core here.
But how
on
do you
Motivate
lock him
Trust
down?
side.
How do you lock him down, though? Like, with this draft, that's the one question I have, John, is how do you stop him? Because it feels like the only way is literally BDZ, right? He's going to get in there with the Vendetta, he's going to impale him straight away, and then you're going to have Bob there with the Light Strike Array to follow up. That's literally the only way. But it's just a perfect Ricky game. It really is.
Yeah, they have no solution. And Jackie just builds up. His defusal is pretty much done. Just 100 gold away. So that's going to be his big spike. Maybe they go now. BDZ is in Vendetta. He was spotted out by the sentry a while ago, I think.
Do they have enough without that Lina? They might with the Ice Blast, and it looks like they'll finally get him. Here you go. That's what you want to see. Set 0. He's also been caught out. So your Light Strike Array hold him down, and they'll finally get a bit of a kill streak going their way for Execration. Meanwhile, though, mid lane is being forced in here by Fearless and Masaros. Gonna try and turn this one around. Raging is gonna pop the Primal Split and go right after Fearless. Meanwhile, Masaros is gonna try and hold them back. He does have that Dream Call up, and they are gonna make the jump in onto Palos. This Viper is gonna drop very fast. They might still be able to trade some heroes, though. Masaros is melting. Phase Shift gonna save as he jumps back in. Another kill. Fearless, he gets a double, and now Raging. He's still trying. The Ice Blast, it should land, but no, the Phase Shift is there. Masaros, he will survive, and they will get Raging Potato. Alright, apparently Masaros Puck is a thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing as well. Like, it's been so long. He just dodges all the big spells, forces the big rotation. They get the kills. They're going to get that mid-tier 1. Makes up for losing your Ricky on bot lane. And Execration, they're losing map space now. They still need to build up a little bit more on Palos. Once the BKB is up, the Viper feels very hard to play against. You're also inching towards that Spirit Vessel here on Raging, so he's going to be able to prevent anyone from really running away, especially the DK. Start to pummel away. It has regen if they don't have the Ice Blast landing. Once they have that BKB, it's a big one on Palos. They should look to make more plays. Execration can't afford to just sit back and play the farm game. Their late game scaling is just solely reliant on Bob and maybe Palos if he gets absolutely big, but it doesn't look like it's shaping up there. Defusal, it's up for Jackie. They smoke up. The Ricky is pretty scary now.
I mean, they're going to spawn out Masaros perhaps in this park. Bob does have the Yule Scepter up, so he might be able to initiate with that. Meanwhile, though, in the mid lane, Jackie's going hunting, and he's found a very nice target. He's found that Pos 1 Viper. And I think Palos understands there's no real chance of survival. So he is going to drop. Maybe they can trade Yule Scepter, Ice Blast, but no, the Snowball's there. Bob is getting jumped now by Q. Impel and Laguna does land, so they do get something. But that's your Pos 1 Viper you've lost. And it really wasn't a hard task.
No. Like the defusal is there to inhibit, just slows him down. The silence means he can't get damage off. The mischance does as well. And Motivate.Trust just clean up. And they just kind of hit and run. This is what we expected from Execration's draft. They're the ones supposed to be running around finding these single target pickoffs. But Motivate.Trust are playing the exact game against them. And just controlling up the top jungle. Even bot, Monster is just playing tag by himself.
I mean, why the hell not? There's your Dream Call out. He's just going to lock down Raging. Primal splits up in 5. He's probably going to die for this. And he does. Still, it looks like Motivate, they're not to be dissuaded. They want to keep trying to set up kills. Now, they might have to just wait for their puck to respawn, though. In Execration, it might be an opening for them. They'll smoke up. Primal split's there. More Fearless, that'll be a nice pickup if they can get it. He's second in net worth right now on that Dragon Knight. They are going to close the gap now, and Fearless, he doesn't have much of a way out. He'll try to turn. The Ice Blast is there, and they'll get another kill. Good news here for Execration.
Yeah, and that's a bigger kill that they desperately needed. They're slowing down that BKB blink timing for Fearless, and they're holding up Q. But there's no one around to really abuse that Cyclone, and Masaros is back up. Dream Coil is still on cooldown for half a minute. They're not going to be able to take any fights until that spell's up. Execration. Bob is number 1 in net worth. And his BKB still lacking the recipe, really. Just a little bit more gold to wait for. And that should align mostly with Palos' BKB. So the 2 spell immune heroes can start to have that impact. You don't have a solution to that yet from Motivate.Trust. And that's where Execration's power spike should come in. They need to play around once those BKBs are up and just force the issue. They should feel strong with the spell immunity. and they should just abuse that while they can once it is available.
We'll see who does want to be the aggressor now. It does seem like Motivate want to be the ones to start moving in again. They smoke up through the mid-river, make a run up. Jackie's not around, but he does have the TP if necessary. However, Execration are also making their way over. They might have a whiff of what's going on here as they do jump Fearless again. Ice Blast is there, and it is going to connect, but a nice Stream Core is going to lock two of them down. They want the Brewmaster first, and they get him. They'll also find BDZ. And the rest of Execration, they just run the other way. They know that team fight's lost. All they can do is just get back to farming and hope and pray that they can kind of outscale the side of Motivate.
Yeah, it's still lining up for the BKB timings. 700 gold away for Bob. Around the same amount for, actually a bit closer for Palos, just about 500 gold. So again, just waiting for the two big cores to get to that spell immunity up to take these fights. And Motivate.Trust aren't really sticking back and farming though. Like they're just constantly showing in lanes, constantly fighting. Jackie's actually also rushing a BKB. So it's all about brawling in this game. 15-7, 2k lead for Motivate. Fearless is alone again though.
Yeah, Fearless getting caught out once again. Very, very cocky kind of position. He might make it though, and it looks like he will.
Oh,
He dies in Fountain. Definitely a very overly confident kind of farming position. However, Motivate.Trust, they're going to jump mid lane. They're going to find the opposing off lane anyway. Not a direct trade really, as it's a pos 2 for a pos 3. They still get the Brewmaster. Fearless, definitely very, very deep there in that top lane though. But I guess with the way the game's going, you know, Motivate, they're probably feeling very confident.
That they are. They don't lose too much. Fearless is just about 100 gold behind Palos. He's still saving up for that BKB.
Got it.
And, you know, I guess he's just taking what space he can. If he dies, it's a DK. He's buying space for the Ricky. He's buying space for the Puck to get more. I think they are prioritizing Masteros and building up here. And once that Puck has this BKB up as well, it's all about the BKBs. That's like 4 heroes saving up for that one big item. So I don't think either side should look for the big commitments until those items are up. And that should lead to a little bit of a slower game. Maybe you see a pick-off or two, but overall, you're just waiting for spell immunity.
Yeah. Vendetta up, BDZ. They're going to go into that mid lane. They definitely want to clear out that T1 mid tower. Fearless, he's going to be around. They are prepping for the defense. More TPs coming in, so it could be a big team fight. Ice Blast going to go through, however. They do jump in. A nice spike Carapace there from BDZ to hold down Masteros. And they burst down the puck before the coil even comes out. The BDZ really saving that team fight for Execration. They're still going to move in though. Fearless, he's been stunned up. He's taking a lot of damage here from Palos. However, Jackie, he's going to jump in onto Bob, trying to go after that laner. But BDZ again with the Impale, buying so much time. And now Jackie has been caught out on the Ricky. They are going to get a double on Palos. And it all goes back to that Nyx assassin from BDZ.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
We talked about a lot of what Execration wants to do is hanging on the Nyx. He's in the right spot. Manages to get control with the Spike Carapace. Motivate.Trust needs to respect that more. They still don't have spell immunity. They force the issue mid, and they get caught off guard by that. And the BKB working out there for Bob, just keeping him alive in that entire fight. And they lose a lot of gold. 1k lead now to the side of Execration. Palos and Bob are top in net worth. Jackie taking the back seat now. They need patience. BKBs are just so close. They shouldn't force these fights until they have those items up. And once you do, you're just safe. So just keep farming. Just maybe build some stacks up here on the side of Motivate. And just be patient. They should have confidence in their scaling compared to Execration's own scaling. Because again, a lot of that scaling is just down to Bob. And Ricky just really has good scale. Even the DK and the Puck have really good presence towards the late game. So they don't need to rush this game. Execration's the one that needs to get these early kills. They're the ones that need the early map control. And if you keep fighting into them while they're strong, you're just giving them exactly what they want.
Very true. And Bob's doing a great job on this lane. Like, he's top of the net worth board. He pretty much has been the whole game. And Palos now is caught up second in net worth on that Viper. suppose once you get that level 20 talent on Palos, you feel a bit stronger with that plus 70 damage. It feel quite nice for him, but see if they keep this capitalization up. I mean, Set Zero, he's going to be there to break the smoke. Stun doesn't land. Fearless does get hit by the Ice Blast, and Set Zero is probably going to tick out as well. But now the Dream Coil's there. They're going to try and force the fight. Bob, he's popped his BKB and just wants to go for a run. BDZ, he's trying to back Spike Carapace. Not going to do too much now. The Soulbind's out, but they still might be able to turn here. Execration, they'll keep going. They've lost BDZ, but they get Set Zero. Palos, he'll get to work onto the Dragon Knight. Davion, he's not able to survive right now. Fearless, he is going to drop eventually, but Jackie, he'll get to work on the Viper. They should be able to eventually get Palos with the Cyclone. He's going to delay things as Raging moves back in. Bob, got to be careful. The Snowball is there. He does use Scepter and does avoid it, but is still... No, the Light Strike Array. It may make him get out. Jackie, tricks the trade. It's going to be enough. RR still going with Raging. They will keep trying to trade with these great Ice Blasts out from RR, but he may have to die to this Ricky. And it's 1v1 now, but the Diffusal Blade's out. You never really beat a Ricky 1v1, I'd say, John. Raging, he's going to try. In fact, he is kind of doing a good job here. Jackie's going to back. Alright, there you go, Raging. He just mans up.
Yeah, it's, they're going to turn as well. BDZ still has that vendetta. If they can catch Jackie out, that could turn this thing around. Jackie's still sticking here as well.
No sentries down, though. Not at least within Jackie's range. Well, now there is, but not earlier on. These team fights are very even. You got to give props to Execration for making these team fights work. It doesn't feel like they should have these advantages in these fights, but just the targets they've been focusing just always seem to be pretty spot on. And here's one of them. Like Fearless on the DK, he's been getting caught quite a lot. He does have the BKB up, so that might make it a little bit easier, but these Ice Blasts have been ruining his moments in these team fights.
Yeah, it's the Ice Blast, it's the Nether Toxin break. He tends to get stuck in pretty awkward positions as well under the Nether Toxin. He can't just relocate himself out. They don't have any Force Staffs to kind of help the cause there. And Execration, they've got a big item spike on Raging. They've got the Ags up on our Brewmaster, 2 charges of the Primal Split, and that can really change how these team fights break out. We've seen his Cyclones just isolate the right heroes, the stuns just annoy everyone on the side of Motivate.Trust, and it feels like they can just play around that now. Like, this is the moment where they're strong. Again, with the BKBs up, with the Ags up, this is where Execration's very, very strong for the next 10 to 15 minutes, and Motivate.Trust are the ones that needs to slow the pace down, build up farm on Jackie, build up farm on Masaros and Fearless, and work towards an item advantage for their scaling. Execration are not going to relent. They smoke up his tree, and they have that split ready and Raging. They just need to find a target.
Yeah, absolutely. The mid lane, Set Zero is going to be the one that gets spotted. He does break the smoke. Ice Blast going to be there immediately. He's going to try and Ink Swarm run. Raging Potato, he is going to commit one of the Primal Split charges to make sure he gets the kill. They don't want to play around here. They do have the secondary anyway, so they could just keep going. Q's actually going to get caught, though. The Cyclone is there from Raging. That's going to be about it, as Jackie now wants to try and turn around back in onto the Brewmaster. He does have that secondary split, but the silence is going to be there. They just take him down, and now Jackie, with the BKB, wanted to go for a bit more. He's not going to be able to get anything more. Just back off. Just not trusting that he can really fight into Bob and Palos right now. If he does get caught out, yeah, I suppose you do have to be careful. There is a lot of damage flying around.
Yeah, it's still the spike of the Viper. He's not quite tapered off yet. The fact that the BKBs are up don't really help you against a Viper Strike as well, though Palos has to be careful being alone.
Yeah, he's got the BKB up, so he can try to get himself out, but it's still going to be a little bit tough. Never mind, it won't be that tough. The tricks of the trades is there. Jackie's turning around, just kiting out this BKB, but now the Viper Strike, he's in trouble. He has no tricks either, and they do burst him down with the Laguna. They've gone too far. Execration, they're going to keep going for this fight as Fearless does come in now. Masaros, they're going to try onto Palos. Do they have enough damage, though? Without their Ricky, it's looking pretty tough. Masaros, though, no, he's onto Palos. He's got the Viper. try to turn. Q is there with the Walrus Punch. Snowball is nice as well. And Fearless is going to jump back in. However, Bob is still alive. He might just be able to survive as he does kill off Q, and the Cyclone is going to be enough to get him out. Masaros can't find him. He has the coil back up, but Bob's already out of there. And I suppose you could call that somewhat of an even trade. In fact, they might even find more. Fearless, he's there with the Inkswell stun. They have the coil if they need. Ice Blast can do some damage, but Raging is still in massive, massive trouble.
Oh.
But he has Primal Split back up soon, and Masaros, he's gonna die. Now they can really turn back around as Talentless comes out from BDZ. The Primal Split is there, and they will find another. They're just outplaying them.
Yeah, Motivate. They just stick around so long for these fights. Jackie?
Yeah, he's back in. The fight just doesn't stop. BDZ will drop. Bob. Chance is there, but Set Zero, he's already so low. Walrus Punch is in. They still, no, they get him. Raging is down. Bob, he'll pop his BKB up. We'll go after Q and does get him. I suppose this is that point now where Bob's really starting to hurt. With this Crystallis up and almost the Daedalus, the damage is starting to escalate quite a bit.
Yeah, and Motivate just cannot afford to keep bleeding heroes like this. Execration's just too strong. All Palace needs to do, even if he doesn't get too many right clicks off, is really just to get Viper Strike onto Jackie or onto the DK. Once you slow them down, BKBs don't help them. They kind of get kited around very easily, and they're just not in a really good spot. And I think that's really the big thing that gave Execration that early engagement. They managed to get the Viper Strike while Palace was being jumped. Everyone else managed to come in for the backup. Motivate.Trust does have a big spike though. Ags up on Masaros. BKB piercing Dream Coil available. And that does mean they have more control. They have a wave locking them down. And they've got the Nullifier up on Jackie. So they've got the damage output here, but Fearless.
Oh, Fearless again. Ice Master's there. Jackie gonna pop the smoke screen and maybe try to get some form of a kill. Fearless, he's BKB'd up, and Masaros, he does commit the coil. They'll try to go after Palos, but here comes Bob, and look at the damage. Jackie, he just can't man up against the Lina. You've just got to leave when Bob does not get caught.
Yeah, he's got the DD running as well, so it's straight into Roshan. And Bob can get the stun himself. It is Roche number 1. They are scouted out. Motivate could try to steal if they feel cheeky.
They might have to try, John. Q, he's going to jump in with the Blink Strike. BKB's there from Bob. He'll just wait out the Aegis. It's on the deck, but Bob's got it. Bob has got the Aegis. Onto Masaros they go. He'll phase shift. It's not going to be enough, though. Execration, they get everything they could have asked for.
Yeah, they're just building up now. 6k lead for Execration. They've managed to ride through that slow restart. They hit their spikes on the Lina and Viper, and because of Motivate.Trust, we're just constantly forcing these fights. They don't have the farm advantage. They need items on this Ricky. They need items on the DK Puck. Feels like they're losing out space because they're constantly shoved in.
Bob, Nullifier's there, Bob. It was looking so good, but now he's lost the Aegis. BDZ, Soulbite not going to lock him down. Fearless is in with the stun. Jackie, he does not have the damage nor the detection. So Bob is going to be alright as now Palos moves in. Raging's there as well. Another Ice Blast, and Fearless is not going to get it. He doesn't take the Ice Blast, but it may not matter. He's taking way too much damage. Snowball is there, but it's right back into the enemy. And it might be a 2-for-1. Fearless is going to die, and Q will die as well. In fact, Jackie's now been caught out. Oh boy. The mistakes just piling up as BDZ will not relent on the voice lines. And I gotta tell you, John, Execration, this support duo of Execration has done such a great job this game. Without BDZ and RR playing the way they've been playing, I don't think this draft would have ever worked.
No, it's a lot down to them, especially BDZ. I think BDZ deserves most of the shoutouts. They're just going for tier 4s. They know they're so far ahead with Bob's damage output. And Motivate.Trust, they need their DK, they need their Ricky. Without them up, this is such a tough defense.
I mean, it's taking a real bad turn here, at least for Motivate, as they jump in. Bob, he just gets blown up now. So Set Zero does secure that kill. Soulbind is there. However, Masaros, he's in danger on this puck. Now the Toxin down, and he's going to try and run, but he cannot. The mana burn is just way too high from BDZ. That is one of the real negatives about Puck, is when you fight it for Nyx Assassin, the mana burn just destroys you. This Fearless tries to rush in again onto Execration, but they're really not getting much. They got that mid laner, but that's going to be about it.
Yeah, it's still a bad spot for Motivate.Trust. They're 13k behind. Execration, losing Bob does put a dent in their closing of the game. Like, they wanted to go tier 4 into the Ancient. They're going to have to wait for one more fight before potentially getting to that point. And that will give some time for Motivate.Trust to farm back up. They did kind of sacrifice a lot there to kind of get that defense going. They bought back on Q. They're kind of starved out on their cores. Jackie's still trying to save up into an SNY next, just to have some stat resist, some more HP to last through the burst. It's going to be helpful. It just feels weird to see the SNY queued up at 32 minutes. You know, it's like he can't go for any bigger damage items because he feels like he's just going to die. So it's such an awkward situation for the Ricky in having to go back for that, but it feels necessary considering how much damage Execration has. Like, the fact that Bob's been allowed to really build up like this is the biggest concern. The mid lane matchup for him was fairly good. He had a farm advantage because he could clear out the side camp. And then the rotations were on point from Execration. Again, down to the supports. They just understood who they had to play around. And they just built up in that one big wrecking ball that is Bob the Wrecker.
Yeah, absolutely. Very impressive stuff. I mean, we had no faith in this draft from Execration whatsoever, but they've made it work, and they make it look good now. It's looking very tough for Motivate. What they can do to try and find their way back into this game, but after such a great start, it was just a couple of small mistakes they made, and I think Fearless got caught out a couple times. Jackie got caught a couple times. Again, it was really off the back of BDZ on that Nyx Assassin. Just constantly finding those amazing spike carapace into the Impale. After that, Bob just took over, and so did our Viper Palos. It is really the Bob show now. In we go. Reconnections are there. Gonna be a bit of a group up and a smoke up here from Motivate. EDZ, he's going to be on the cliff to break the smoke. Bit of an interesting area here, as they're going to try and find out who's done it, but... well, they might find Palos. He's in the tree line. They check the cliff? No, he blinks away right at the right moment. They aren't going to find him. Oh, BD, he's such a nuisance, BDZ, isn't he?
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Again, he's just one of those support players that knows where to be. And can be really flashy, even makes the Nyx look flashy, although...
he's under
they're still chasing
there.
him, Motivate.
Ice Blast gonna fly through. No, they're not gonna find anyone. I mean, even if you found BDZ, the amount of time that's been used up for this... like, Bob's across the map just farming on this laner. He's just getting stronger and stronger now. He's almost got a Satanic up. And after that, he's getting an MKB. It's like, how do you kill him now with the Satanic MKB coming up?
Yeah, it's just not there yet for Motivate. They need a disarm on someone. Probably the Heaven's Halberd on Fearless would be big, but he's going for the Assault Curious instead for the armor, which is helpful, especially against that physical build on Bob. It's just fairly far out until it's done. I mean, he has a lot of farming to do to hit that 5.1k gold he needs, plus buyback on top. So these item spikes are just not coming fast enough on Motivate, and Execration they're just allowed to control the map. They're farming efficiently. They've got everything under control. There are still tier 2s and tier 1s to take out, but you've got the mid constantly shoved in, and it's shoved into a scary point because tier 4s are exposed. So Motivate always has to keep eyes on mid, and they're always sticking together now. Motivate can't split up the farm. Execration just, again, they have so much more room to play with on this map. They take that tier 2 bot. And they could wait for the next Roshan, 2.5 minutes until we see the respawn. It looks like they'll just, there's no need to rush. They've got everything under control.
Yeah, absolutely. They might go for a hunt though. BD's even that are popped. Bob's even got an Invis rune, so they can definitely start searching. Oh, Masaros, no. Oh, he orbed into the cap, and immediately Bob and BDZ are there. Fearless!
Oh, Fearless.
They might have to fight Jackie. He's going to jump in. They'll go right after BDZ, and they'll get the Nyx Assassin. But look at the damage output flying out from Bob. Primal Split's going to be there, raging. He wants to try and force a fight. Fearless, he's dived into that corner. Q, he may not get out. He'll try to blink away. But that Storm Panda's moving in. Nice and fast. Raging. No, he can't find him.
Top tower is under attack.
It's going to be a 1-for-1. Still in the favor of Execration as they found that puck. They'll even get that tier 1 top tower. Yeah, obviously, for Execration, you want to try and maintain that area around the Roshan pit now. That'll be the next big objective.
Yeah. They can just kind of choke out Motivate.Trust from this point in the triangle. They could maybe line up for the tier 2 first if they want. They do have another split ready on Raging.
Swall's there. Jackie gonna jump in. They do get the smoke screen out. Can they actually burst him in time? The Aeon Disc is gonna help out. It's just not gonna be enough. Raging. End up dropping, and well, luckily, Execration, they've still got some time for that Roshan to spawn. So they probably hope it's not an early Roshan spawn timer now, because Raging's gone for quite a while.
Yeah, it's a long time without that split, and the split has been very important for them to kind of break up Motivate.Trust initiation. For Motivate.Trust's part, they don't really have vision over the pit, though. They're not in a good spot to kind of scout it out themselves. Courier does fall, and that did have the Vit and Energy Booster Masaros. That would have been his build-up into the Aeon Disc, so it's gone for 3 minutes. Masaros is going to be feeling a lot more vulnerable without that item. Execration, are they going to be lucky? Is it going to be a slower rush? 44 seconds, not bad. And Raging will be up by the time Roshan's up, so they can still force that fight, and they can still look for that objective quite fine.
Yeah. Roshan, 20 seconds away. Motivate, they're gonna try and set up a gank here. Maybe if they could find a kill, they could try to steal the Roshan themselves. Palos is gonna back off at the right time with this Viper, and even if they found him, he's quite a tanky target now with that AC and Iascardi up. Double damage as well down at that bot power rune. So BDZ gonna spot it out, and guess who gets it? Oh, it's going to be old Bob. Boy, oh boy, this is a very scary moment now for Motivate as the Ice Blast is going to fly through, but it finds nothing. Q is just running for his life right now, and he's going to make it out. Roshan is up, though, so Execration, they might as well just go for that. I don't think you need to force a fight.
No. You can just take the Aegis Cheese Ag Shard for free. And that could be pretty big, especially the Shard, depending on who they give it to. I'd actually like to see it on Bob. I love the ground-targeted Laguna that cuts through everyone. Absolute beauty when it does line up. They will pass it on. Palace does manage to pick up the Aegis a little.
Yeah, they started a team fight. They're going to try again onto BDZ, and they might just be able to get him in time. He's still somehow alive. They'll get him, but Jackie's given his life for it. They are trying so desperately to kill off this Nyx Assassin. Set 0, he's going to drop. Bob, he's found another. It's going to be Masaros. He can't get out either. The Light Strike Array is there. Even the neutrals are helping out. Fearless is going to jump in. No stun out yet. Masaros going to keep trying to fight. Satanic is there, though. Maybe he survives, but no, they get the stun in time. Bob, he finally does drop. Q, he's gone. RR just kills him off with the Ice Blast, and now Raging is just going to surround Fearless. BDZ keeping it up as well. Just cheerleading for the team. It's into the T-Force for Palos, it seems. With the shards up, they can definitely take these Tier 4 towers a lot quicker. You've also got a Refresher Orb now onto Raging. So he's got more Primal Split charges up to buy time for Palos to just hit Tier 4s. There you go, he'll pop it. BKB already there from Jackie, but it's so hard to defend now. Because Palos, he's literally just going to hit the Ancient. They'll try to snowball through onto RR. Sleeping Dart is going to buy some time, but Raging's just going to keep them in the fountain. Jackie, he's going to try and rush forward. Palos will just keep going at it. He has the BKB and Jackie's gone.
No.
It's a dieback, and that'll be GG well played in Execration. They make the draft work. And again, John, I've got to give props. BDZ, he does it again.
Yeah, he just plays amazingly well in the next. He sets up for his team. Execration as a whole, I mean, they played really slow, right? It looked like their lineup wasn't getting off to the running start they expected. And then Motivate.Trust starts playing quicker than we expected because they felt pressured to play a fast game. Because of that, they start losing their lead. They made quite a few mistakes here and there, and that were spotted by BDZ and abused by him. And it just led for this turnaround from Execration. So big props to Execration. It's not easy to play, 4 games in a row. This is game number 3. Of course, there's going to be one more, but it takes a toll on you. It doesn't look like that's affecting Execration much. They're still playing on point. Motivate.Trust, it looked like they had a better draft. You called it out. The Ricky game looked like it could have been perfect. And then they just kind of took some engagements where it wasn't lined up.
Yeah. Just a couple mistakes. It was, again, BDZ who set them up, really. I don't even know if we can call them mistakes, John. Like, BDZ just kind of found the light in the crack, and he just cracked it wide open. That's all that happened, really. Well, we'll head to a short 10-minute break, and right after that break, we're going to be back with our final game of the night between Execration and Motivate.Trust.